Why Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob dug wells, and why I am about to do the same. When I was out in the garden early this morning, building my no-till raised beds with leaves, something hit me, and it wasn't random. It was biblical. It was ancestral. It was covenantal. I remember when I first started planting on this land a few years ago, I did what most people do. I tried to use the city water to keep my plants moisturized. But something strange happened. The more I watered with city water, the more the plants started dying. At first, I didn't understand it. But the land understood. The plants understood. The water understood. So I switched. I got a water pump and started pulling water from the creek. And instantly, everything changed. The plants came back to life. They flourished. They responded to living water, not processed water. And while I was out there today, I realized something deeper. This is the same pattern Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob lived. In the Holy Bible, those three men dug wells. Not one well, wells. Multiple. And God said, "This is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations." Why? Because a man who digs a well is a man who refuses bondage. A man who digs a well is a man who refuses dependence. A man who digs a well is a man who understands covenant. In John chapter 8, verses 32 through 44, Jesus brings up Abraham for one reason: freedom versus bondage, sons versus servants, inheritance versus dependence. He said, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." He said, "If the Son makes you free, you are free indeed." And then he says something powerful. "I know you are Abraham's seed, but my word has no place in you." In other words, you claim Abraham, but you don't live like Abraham. You claim freedom, but you live in systems of bondage. You claim inheritance, but you depend on another man's infrastructure. And that's when it clicked for me. The city recently put a meter on the water line. Before it was a flat fee. Now it's usage based. And that's fine until something goes wrong. A pipe bursts underground. A toilet runs nonstop. A leak forms behind a wall. And suddenly, you're subject to payments. You're paying for something God placed under your feet. You're paying for something your ancestors accessed freely. Lamentations 4 talks about this. Baruch 3, verses 8 to 13 talks about this. We are yet this day in our captivity, subject to payments. Subject to payment for things that should be free. Subject to payment for things the earth gives without charge. Subject to payment because we don't have what our fathers had. What did our fathers have? Wells, living water, land-based provision, covenant access. And as I stood in my garden today, I realized I'm being pulled into that same memorial. Not by fear, not by panic, but by alignment. My plants are already testified. City water killed them. Creek water revived them. The land already testified. The meat is not the problem. The system is. And my spirit testified. It's time to think about digging a well. Not because I'm trying to escape anything, but because I'm stepping into the same pattern Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob walked in. A well is not just water. A well is sovereignty. A well is inheritance. A well is identity. A well is covenant. A man who controls his water controls his survival. A man who controls his water controls his agriculture. A man who controls his water controls his household. A man who controls his water cannot be easily enslaved. This is why every empire in scripture controlled water. Egypt controlled the Nile. Babylon controlled the canals. Rome controlled the aqueducts. But Abraham, Isaac and Jacob dug their own wells. And now here I am on my land, filling that same pool. Not to imitate him, but to align with the memorial God tied his name to. So when I say I'm thinking about digging a well, understand this is not a project. This is not a hobby. This is not a convenience. This is covenant. This is inheritance. This is restoration. This is the land teaching me the same lesson it taught the patriarchs. And I'm listening.